So we Americans seem to have a reputation for being kind of stupid, right? Not all of us, not all of us at all, but just the overall consensus in the worldwide scale is Americans are pretty stupid. Okay, so I'm included in that for sure. I'm not claiming to be a genius by any means or anything like that. So anyways, we're going to be checking out this video here called How America Got So Stupid. So we're going to find out today, guys, what went wrong. What is going on? By the channel Brit Monkey. Links down below for the original video. What's going on, guys? Why are we so stupid? Thanks for watching with me. Thanks for going along with this on this journey with me to discover how we Americans are just how we got so stupid. Let's find out. This is gonna be a good one.
You wanna know how I got this dislike ratio? I make a video praising the Soviet Union and nobody bats an eye. I make a video praising the United States and everybody loses their minds. Okay, fine. I hear you. You only want to hear things that confirm what you already believe. I get it. Let's talk about why Americans are stupid. There's a famous episode of the Jimberly Kimberly live show where clueless residents of Los Angeles fail to name a single country.
Is it South Africa?
Yeah, the country of Asia.
Greenland or Iceland or something.
Although these are no doubt cherry-picked, and I'm sure if you stood in a big city all day and shoved a camera in people's faces and asked them questions, you'd be able to find 3 minutes worth of people who couldn't answer on the spot.
That is true, but it's going to be more easy to find the people here in America that don't know the answers to those kind of questions probably than other countries, I think.
Miss, for $1, name a woman.
Name a woman?
Yeah.
But the stereotype that Americans are ignorant about the wider world is largely true. These people can't name a country because they don't care about other countries. 40% of Americans have a passport, compared to 66% of Canadians and 76% of Brits.
I'm actually one of those 40% now. I got a passport. So does Amy and Trevor, because we're going to the Netherlands next year. I'm excited.
In 1994, it was only 10% of Americans.
Oh, geez.
But that doesn't mean Americans have gotten more globetrotting since then. It was because after an above-average episode of the news, it became mandatory to need a passport when entering Canada and Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
So it's fair to say that a very small percent of Americans will be leaving this corner of the world. As I said in a previous video, America has all you'd ever want geographically within her borders. Why go anywhere else? The foreign cultures, maybe? Americans don't care about that either. On the list.
Hold on, what is that?
The foreign cultures, maybe? Americans don't.
It's funny to me that they've decided Americans are the only ones who might not realize they're foreigners. It's funny.
Don't care about that either. On the list of the highest grossing movies in the USA, you have to go all the way to 520th place to get a movie that isn't American.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and that's the thing, too. It's just like, it's because that's all we're exposed to. You know what I'm saying? Except for me, like I'm forcing myself to be exposed to the world, obviously, through a lot of these videos that we react to and stuff. But, yeah.
It's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, by the way. Couldn't even beat the Nutty Professor. Somebody please check up on Ang Lee. I think he might have killed himself. Neither do global affairs hold the average American's interest. When asked about the Kyoto Climate Accords, who the Taliban are, or who Nicolas Sarkozy is, Americans are woefully underinformed.
Yes, I am actually woefully uninformed. I vaguely know about the Taliban, of course, but I don't know about the other stuff. Sorry, guys. I'm dumb.
Compared to other developed nations.
Yeah.
In 2009,
I don't even know what is Kyoto? What is that? Sorry, I don't know.
Only half knew that last year's Olympics were held in Beijing. Oh, but of course, when asked to name American celebrities, they had no trouble at all.
I mean, if you pick out super famous people, Mel Gibson, you know, sure. Donald Trump obviously is the president, right? It says the study was done in 2019, though. So Britney Spears here, honestly, I would probably not recognize her. To me, In this picture, she looks like the girl that played in Twister, the Twister movie. I don't know who the actress is, but
At the same time, we non-Americans are flooded with American culture. Some British people know more about American politics and history than their own.
Once you're dropped into the trench, depth, or the z-axis is...
It's Z-axis, you floppy-haired moron. France had to pass law.
that's funny. That was a British dude calling it Z. Yeah. You know, and it's because everybody's being exposed to stuff online, you know, and a lot of the content creators are from America that the people abroad, like other countries, are watching. So they're being exposed to that. So the language, the lingo, calling something Z instead of Z or whatever, you know.
Laws banning radio stations from playing too much American music. There are only 2 countries in the world where Coca-Cola is not sold. Wait, scratch that. This journalist from Finland bought a Coke at a water park in Pyongyang in 2017. And what's this hiding in the background of somebody's holiday snaps at the National Hotel de Cuba? Look, you know something's up when remote tribesmen in the Amazon rainforest who don't even have electricity know who Michael Jackson is. Americans used to be quite well read. After the Second World War, Americans consumed 63% of all the newspapers in the world, and they used this to their advantage. In 1948, the newly formed United Nations created a list of human rights that all countries should strive to uphold. One area that Americans were particularly interested in was this one, Article 19. Everyone has the right to freedom of expression and opinion, and receive and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers.
Okay, so is that is that what led up to that Patriot Act or something? I don't know. I don't understand what they're saying here. I'm a dumb American, guys. I'm telling you.
What the USA wanted was a completely level playing field. Anyone can buy any media from any other country. A global free market of ideas, released from the shackles of censorship. For if anyone can gain access to the truth, we cannot be marched into the same kind of ignorance and intolerance that characterized the Axis nations of the war.
Okay.
This is admirable. Freedom of speech is a core value of the United States and many other allied nations. But some delegates, like those from India, questioned the US's motives. If you believe in an equal access to information and culture, shouldn't you redistribute some of your media creating capacity to developing nations like ours, so that we have an equal opportunity to tell the world our stories?
And that's a good point. And also, I think part of it is because United States wants to have like sort of a control, like, you know, the government is trying to control the world, right? And so making it where it's like, okay, everybody should be able to access everybody's media, right? Now it puts the United States in a position to make an assload of media, right? Hollywood, right? So then Hollywood then just starts pumping out all these movies and all these TV shows all across the globe. But then, of course, they're not bringing in the media from these other countries here in America. So all we see is Hollywood, right? But so it's not, they're not doing it both ways like they should be. But it's them forcing the Hollywood ideology on the rest of the world as a form of like to try to brainwash and control a little bit. Same reason why the London kids starting to say Z instead of Z, and like, you know, how there's people that know a lot more about American stuff than there is stuff that's in their own country just because of all the Hollywood movies. I don't know.
The Americans would not budge. Of course, they knew deep down that India was right. The American delegation to the convention was highly populated by journalists and media magnates. They knew that if countries couldn't afford their own news, they would be increasingly reliant on buying news from American wire companies like the Associated Press, which was good for both the media companies' profits, but also the US State Department, who would no doubt have been licking their lips at the prospect of 1 billion people reading news with a specific American spin on it. In 1944, the Associated Press sold news to 38 countries. Within 8 years, that had doubled to 70 countries.
So the same basic thing that I was saying, but instead of like more so Hollywood, it's like the news, right? Associated Press. Same concept though. It's pushing the Americanized, like, you know, it's coming from the American viewpoint, right? So you're putting that American viewpoint everywhere by doing that, and you know, and that's not good for really anybody, because it makes us stupid. I don't know that it's bad for, well, actually it is bad for other countries, because then it kind of like lessens the other country's culture, right? Because everybody tries to be the same as like the standard of what you see on TV all the time, which is the American way, which isn't the greatest way. Don't follow us, guys. It's not good.
In the 1950s, around half of films shown in European and Asian cinemas were American, 2/3 in Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina. Which makes sense. Americans made grand Technicolor films brimming with Hollywood sparkle because they could afford to. Whereas war-torn Europe, impoverished Mexico, and nuclear-obliterated Japan were stuck making small-scale comedies to keep up morale.
It's true.
One of the most popular French movies in 40s France was 1949's The Big Day, a mostly plotless movie where a whimsical French postman gets into wacky mischief in a quaint village.
But I mean,
there just wasn't the money or resources for anything else.
But you know, I'm laughing at it. Like, that's funny, right? And, you know, we need more of that kind of humor. Like the Charlie Chaplin days. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's funny stuff. Like, you know, and then what was the other? There's like, the Three Stooges. Yeah, the Three Stooges. That stuff's classic.
Hollywood captured the European public's imagination, and they wanted more. But why is it only a one-way street? Because while you can do or say whatever you want within the United States, the Constitution also says that the American government can regulate what goes in or out.
Yeah, exactly. And what I was saying earlier, that they're not letting the foreign stuff come into this country. But they're certainly letting a lot of our stuff go out. They're pushing that everywhere, except North Korea probably. But you know, that's a whole nother story.
During the Cold War, anything that might be considered communist propaganda could be seized by the post office and never delivered. Books or even souvenirs from communist countries, for example. Pamphlets criticizing US foreign policy. Immigration reached a low point in the early 70s, with only 4.7% of Americans being foreign-born, limiting Americans' interaction with different cultures.
Dang.
Obviously, it wasn't totally like North Korea. Plenty of foreign movies and music were allowed into the US. But the media that caught on was either already Americanized, or so plastically exotic that it doesn't really say anything about the culture where it's from. The Beatles were British, yes,
True.
but they got their start covering American rock and roll musicians. When John Lennon stepped out of line, the American government made sure that he knew it. Movies imported from Japan were mostly samurai flicks, and very few movies set in the modern day. The film Ikiru is widely considered the best Japanese film ever made, if you ignore people who have never felt the touch of a woman. But this existential drama about a depressed, lonely man was only given a limited release in California, and the poster was edited to feature a stripper who is only in the movie for like 1 minute. The narrow stream of European movies that made it into the USA came in the form of the French New Wave cinema.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier, like I've actually heard of, I haven't heard of a lot of like foreign movies and stuff like that being played here, but I've seen it mentioned in like shows like Seinfeld, for instance, you know, where they're going to cinema, blah, 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 to watch, you know, some French movie. Like I've heard of it being mentioned in the 90s, like about like a lot of these French movies that's being watched and stuff. I was a kid. I wasn't out there watching French movies in the 90s or anything, but I'm aware of that being a thing. Yeah, I didn't know it was called the French New Wave, though. And I don't even know for sure if what they're about to say or what they're talking about is what I'm mentioning here, you know, in the 90s growing up.
Movies that were stylistically inspired by American films, but also so stuffy that few audiences would ever want to watch them anyway.
Qu'est-ce que ça peut te faire?
Ça ne va pas, non?
Non, rien. Je voulais dire cette phrase avec une idée précise. Je ne savais pas quelle était la meilleure façon d'exprimer cette idée. Ou plutôt, je le savais.
You got Homer falling asleep. You got Subway Surfers or whatever it is over there.
Et maintenant, je ne sais plus.
This was further stifled by the Hays Code, a set of extremely strict regulations that were in place from 1934 to 1968. If you've ever wondered why old black and white films seem so dry, it's because of these rules. Some things that were completely banned from ever being shown in any film included bad guys winning. All movies had to end with the police outwitting the evil criminals or the criminals causing their own demise.
Okay, so this is like some next level censorship that I didn't even really know existed here. Like I knew that there was some censorship, but like I didn't know it was like that. That is crazy. Wow.
Any nudity, even the silhouette of a booba, is an instant ban. Blood or dead bodies. When people get shot in old films, they usually just clutch the wound, but no actual blood is seen.
That's true, yeah.
Pointing a gun at somebody in the same frame. This is why guns are always held at waist height. Kissing.
Wait, pointing a gun at somebody in the same frame? What are they talking about? There's somebody in the same frame, right?
Same frame.
Hold on.
This is why. When people get shot in old films, they usually just clutch the wound, but no actual blood is seen.
Right. Yeah.
Pointing a gun at somebody in the same frame. This is why guns are always held at waist height.
That doesn't make sense. Pointing a gun at somebody that's in the same frame, and that's why the guns are being held at waist height. But there's somebody else in the frame, and she's pointing the gun at that person. I don't get it. I guess I'm just too much of a dumb American.
Kissing for longer than 3 seconds.
Can't do that. Oh wait, well, 3.04. They need to pull that whole entire show. That's against the rules.
Interracial couples. White people as slaves. Criticism of religion or of any other country. Naturally, this prevented the more artistically liberal European films from being shown in American cinemas.
Wow, that's crazy. So like, yeah, we're like, it's like North Korea light, or like Diet North Korea. Yeah.
And when they did get a US release, they were usually edited to remove the violence in movies and sex on TV to comply with the good old-fashioned values.
What about A Clockwork Orange? I've seen A Clockwork Orange. I'm fairly certain that is not an American film. I'm almost positive it comes from Europe somewhere, probably in England. I wonder if the version that I've seen is the OG original version, or if it was censored for America. Although from what I've seen, didn't seem like they did a whole lot of censoring. I don't know if you've seen that movie, A Clockwork Orange. You know what I'm talking about. Messed up movie. Crazy messed up movie. But just random thought, reaction. Back to the video.
At least until the rules were abolished in 1968 and replaced by the age rating system we have today. Even as the Cold War ended and the internet gave Americans unparalleled access to the rest of the world and all of human knowledge, they still preferred to hang out on a handful of American-made websites dominated by Americans. The insular culture of 20th century America has carried over to the 21st. Tightened border security after Septiembre Undécimo means foreign musicians can have a hard time getting visas. In 2002, the touring visa of a German orchestra was cancelled after it was discovered the cellist had a criminal record for shoplifting a pair of tweezers in 1991. When they tried again for a visa in 2004, the cellist had to undergo an hour-long interview with Homeland Security and had to physically pick up his visa from the US Embassy.
Jeez. Global
Cultures might be more present in American media, but they're always through the lens of American characters, such as The Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise, where he plays a white guy in 1870s Japan.
Yeah.
7 Years in Tibet, another American in China. Indiana Jones, American in Egypt.
You know, I never really thought about it, but yes, that is very true. Okay.
The Bourne Identity, American in France.
Yeah. Taken, American in Europe. Wonder if Taken will be on here. Good movie, by the way.
Inglourious Bastards, Americans in German-occupied France.
Good movie.
And for the ladies in the audience, Mamma Mia. For a movie set on a Greek island, there's not a single Greek person in the entire movie.
You know, that is one thing I noticed about a lot of movies from here in America, which I don't watch a whole lot of movies anymore. I used to. Sometimes I do every now and then, you know, but which, by the way, me and Amy watched a random movie the other night called The Fly. It's from the 80s. Crazy movie, by the way. Crazy movie. But I have noticed that when you watch a movie from America, a lot of times when it's supposed to be from a different place, it's like it's not even the people from that place. It's just like people that kind of look like they could resemble people from that place, but like it's totally not. It's crazy. It's funny.
Is there any hope for America, or are they destined to be a stinky, dumb, redneck country forever? Maybe. In 2000,
Maybe.
92% of the music in the USA Top 50 was American, making it the second most insulated market in the world after Pakistan.
Hold on. I don't know what years is 2000 or something. I'm pretty sure for the longest time, one of the top Billboard charts was Pink Floyd. Certainly not an American band, and I'm pretty sure that there was a lot of like AC/DC stuff going on in the top charts there for a while, and I don't even know what else. Beatles, of course, you know, so many bands from other places. So yeah, in the year 2000, I don't know what was going on there. I was in like middle school or something.
But today it's more like 60%. With Brits, Canadians, Latin Americans and Africans making themselves more seen in the charts.
Yeah, cool.
Each year there are more foreign films nominated at the Academy Awards than ever before. What used to be an American-only pay-to-win awards show is now an international pay-to-win awards show. As social media platforms have an element of randomness in what they show users, there is a higher chance of Americans being shown videos from other countries, forcing them to take note of what is happening. It seems the revolution will be TikToked. I've been
TikTok. No comment.
giving the impression throughout this video that it's all or most Americans who are terminally uneducated. But American ignorance isn't as evenly distributed as you'd think. That study I mentioned earlier, when adjusting for English proficiency, income and education levels, Americans are really no different from their European counterparts, and in some cases marginally smarter.
Hey.
Knowledge about the wider world even correlates to political views, and not in the way that you'd think. A 2022 survey asked Americans 12 questions about the world, such as who is the British Prime Minister, what does the Indian flag look like, and what this symbol represents. The people who answered the most questions correctly were committed Democrats and committed Republicans. Swing voters, those enlightened centrist chads, were the stupidest.
They're the stupidest. They're the ones that they flip-flop back and forth. They don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't even know what I am. I'm in the middle. There's views from both sides that make sense, and there's views from both sides that don't make sense. But I'm not that donkey or goat or whatever that thing is in the middle.
Only 40% of moderate Republicans could name the US Secretary of State, compared to 60% of convicted Republicans. Only half of moderate Democrats knew that the USMCA trade agreement replaced NAFTA, compared to 66% of convicted Democrats. Also, I just thought it was funny that the more Americans know about the European Union, the more favourable view they have of it. So are Americans ignorant? Many of them are. But it isn't their fault. It's a mix of geography, American imperialism, Cold War paranoia, moral puritanism, and economic factors that create a paradoxical nation that is both the most expansive empire, but also an informational prison of their own making. God bless you, stupid bastards.
Yeah. Guys, I'm dumb as shit, okay? I'm dumb as shit. It's not my fault, okay? You can't blame me. You watched the video with me, okay? Blame the system, the government, the environment, society that I was put into, okay? I'm trying, all right, guys? I don't know how much progress I'm making, but I'm probably doing a little better than I was before I started my channel. And so anyways, hit like, hit subscribe, and drop a comment down there. Helps the algorithm spread the video, helps keep me motivated to do this, and helps me to be able to do this and all that good stuff. And you guys have a super fun, awesome day. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.